Hello everyone, my name is Dr. Sulaimon Afolabi and I'm here to take you through a tutorial titled Multi-Image Detection with Deep Learning. Alright, so here are the points that we are going to be looking at as this tutorial progresses. Number one is understanding object detection. Number two, I will take you through variants of object detection. The number three is use cases of object detection. Number four, object detection API. And lastly, is object detection implementation steps, the steps that you need to take note of in order to implement an object detection project. Let's go to our number one, understanding object detection. Object detection is a computer vision technique for identifying objects in images and videos. The machine, in this context, computer learns to recognize objects that it has been trained to see. Variants on object detection. As you can see in this picture, the question is the objects in this image, is it a boy or a girl? The answer is a boy. Alright, so that takes us to object classification. Object classification actually entails classifying an object. An object can be human, as we are seeing in this example. It can be an animal, it can be vehicle, it can be a plant in an image. And what we do is to classify such to its respective category. It often involves the identification of a single image. Alright, so here are some of the object classification tasks that will be has to do. Number one is dog breed. So maybe asked to classify based the dog breed. As you can see here, we have Beagle, German Shepherd, Labrador, Bulldog, Rottweiler into their respective group category. All right. What else can we do when it comes to object classification? Digit recognition. You can be asked to classify digits. Is it 1? Is it 3? Is it 7? Is it 2? Most especially the ones that have been written with the head of a pen or a pencil, as the case may be. The number 3 is food. All right. You can see African delicacies on your screen. Is it hamala? Is it ugali? Is it pap? Is it eba? Is it banku? That you are, so you are given a set of images and say, okay, classify. And the images may overlap greatly, just like in the case of the dog breed and dog breed classification competition that was hosted on Cargo. So some of the images may be identical, even in this case of food classification, but there are certain things that will make the image to be unique. For example, now if you look at ugali, pap, they have something in common in terms of the color. The same thing with banku, but what people normally eat them with may vary. All right, okay, let's continue. Now the question is, what object can you see in the picture? All right, I can see a boy and I can see a rabbit. All right, or a bunny, as other people call it. And this takes us to object detection again. Here's another definition. Object detection actually entails detecting objects of certain class in an image of video. In this context, multiple objects of diverse type can be identified Each detection is presented with a bounding box with the level of accuracy and the name of the objects in question. So in this, you can see there's a bounding box right here. So this can be given as an image having a boy and this rabbit. So the model performance will be displayed. Is it detected at 100% level of accuracy? Is it detected at 70 or at 50? Is it not properly classified? You will see it in the name. Maybe instead of looking at a rabbit, it's looking at the hair, which is also a kind of it's a bush rabbit or a white rabbit. Object segmentation. This is the problem of locating object and boundaries, e.g. lines, curves in images. So we are trying to segment, as the name may be, and it's also used interchangeably with masking as well. Okay, so here are the three main categories. When people talk about object detection, they talk about localization as well, but we are not categorizing based on that. All right. Use cases of object detection or recognition. There are quite many. All right, I will show you the video of some of them. Here is the first one. So in this context, we see a lady trying to gain access to a building, and it's being used here to control the risk of unauthorized access to a private building. This individual is trying to gain access, but it's not on the system. So the system is scanning. The person cannot be found on the system, so access has been denied and the person has been asked to leave the premises. So that is one. So another is for traffic monitor and also for the flow of traffic, and this is something that is very essential that we need in Africa. So with this flow of traffic, now you can be able to say, okay, direct people in real time on where to go, so that they will not get into traffic. So you can see here that is detecting the vehicles and is telling us, giving us information on the number coming, that has already come, the number of vehicles that have come, and those ones that are going. And you can also do more than this. You can categorize into the type of vehicle, maybe the vehicles in questions. They are truck, maybe they are pickups or bakkies or car or buses, so as the case may be. All right. Okay, apart from that, you can use it for crowd counting. You can see here there's a number just in front there, so it can be used for counting the number of people. For example, in this era of COVID-19, you want to know whether in a building there's more than enough people to ensure social distancing. So this can be very, very important. All right. So what other things? Staff authentication. We saw it previously. So here is another video showing the system trying to recognize the people as they come into this area and is able to match. So with this one, you can be able to detect intruders. So those that are not supposed to be here, maybe that have come in one way or the other. So it monitors, it does that. Okay. Emotional intelligence. So in this video, it's being used to measure the emotional state of people. Are they happy? Are they sad? Are they afraid? Are they scared? Are they agitative or okay? So are they moody? So you can use it for that. All right. Okay, so now let's go to the object detection APIs. So these are the models, these are the platform that allows us to be able to use this computer vision technology. The number one on my screen is TensorFlow. I've put the link in case you want to see how you can implement using a certain framework. TensorFlow actually belongs to Google. We have YOLO. YOLO is also a popular framework. MXNev, Microsoft CNTK, PyTorch, Detectron. So these are the APIs that you can capitalize on. But as far as this tutorial is concerned, we will be using TensorFlow. Alright, but you can try others, but don't be surprised when you go on the internet and you see people using a different method, using YOLO, using MXNet. Don't be perturbed. So you can also use other framework as well. Alright, object detection implementation. So the question that you may want to ask is that how can I implement this? How can I use this for my project and for to serve my purpose? All right, so here are the steps. The first one is to download or produce raw images. There's a number of images that I've put their names and where you can download them, which you can use to practice, and it ranges from cat raccoon to cat basketball. So you can actually practice. You can use different framework to practice. Maybe you want to test for the speed, but for this training, in the second part, we'll show you how to go about that. All right, but if you are the type that have been following the LinkedIn account or page of Africa for AI, you will see how you can implement some of this. The code is already there, but don't worry. In the second part, you will learn how to, but you can see the links there. You can visit and maybe practice on how to identify raccoon, how to identify cats. All right, so the next step is to annotate the images using label IMGs. So this is where you will spend a lot of work. So that's why I've shared some images that you can use for practicing. But you can also collect your images, but when you are done, you need to get them annotated, and there's a software that you can use. It's called Label IMG. It's available free of charge. You can download that. So you need to split the data into train and test data set. You don't need to do this manually. There's a code you can use. So in the next part, the second part of this tutorial, I will show you how you can use that. You need to generate data, TF record. So that is what the TensorFlow object detection API understands. So that's what. So you generate CSV. So these have to be consumed by the model. Install TensorFlow object detection API and other dependencies. So this is being implemented in Python, and the tutorial we use Python and Linux operating system. So it's also possible to implement some of these things in Windows, but the major challenge we have with Windows is some of the dependencies. You run this and it's throwing you error, you do this and it's throwing, but it's something that can be done, but it may give you a number of problems. And because you have your antivirus which may be disturbing the installation, in the background you have some other stuff as well. So it's hard. So if you are the type that is using Windows 10 now supports the installation of Linux. You can install Ubuntu Linux and you'll be able to interact. So as we progress, I will show you how to do that in the second part. All right, test the API installation, download the pre-trained model and labels. So there are certain model that are being, we are not training the model from the scratch. So there's a number of models that are being trained. If you go to TensorFlow Zoo, you'll find them there. All right. Retrain the model and export the inference. Test your model to see whether it will be able to identify the object in question. All right. So that is the end of part 1. I want you to be on the lookout for part 2. It will come up shortly. All right. So I thank you very much for your time, for your data that you spent in watching the video. So I want you to like and also share for your colleagues, for your friends to benefit. Thank you very much. I'll see you next time.